Everyone, hello to you all. Thank you so much for joining in. Very good evening. I welcome all of you to the launch of the Reckitt Global Challenge 2023. It's a pleasure to have all of you here, and just to introduce myself briefly, my name is Sarthak Goswami. I have recently joined Reckitt as a management trainee in the HR function. I did my MBA from Accelerate Jamshedpur in HR as well. I got a chance to intern with Reckitt for my summers, and post that, I was fortunate enough to be welcomed by the company as a management trainee. So that's briefly about me. I'll now take you through the agenda for today. So, firstly, I'll introduce Reckitt and the Global Challenge very shortly. What is exactly the competition? What is everything that the participants can expect out of the competition? How is it going to work, and all of that? Post that, I'll introduce the panelists, the three panelists for today. And then we can start with the full-fledged interaction with all three of them. You can ask any questions that you have in the live chat. We'll be happy to answer all of them during our live session. And we also have a dedicated question and answer round at the end of this session, so you can ask your questions there as well. So yeah, with that, we are good to go. So Reckitt. Reckitt is one of the leading FMCG companies in the country and as well as the globe. We are a house to the most loved and trusted brands, across various markets. So you name it: Dettol, Lysol, Harpic, Durex, Move. The list just does not end. Personally, I've always been a fanboy, so it was a great moment for me to be actually working with Reckitt. About the global challenge. So, Reckitt Global Challenge is one of our flagship employer branding initiatives. It's a case competition that we launch in premium B schools across the nation to hire management trainees. This year, we are taking it a notch up, and we're launching it in around 17 premier B schools in the country. Global Challenge was first launched in 2014 in India, so it's been a decade that we're doing it. This is going to be our 10-year anniversary. So what do you want? What do we want from all the participants from the B school? So we expect you to come up with an innovative solution to a case problem that we'll be handing it out to you. Needless to say, the solution needs to be technically feasible and financially viable, and you will be taken through various rounds in the competition, ranging from an aptitude test to the case challenge round. Then the selected teams go through the campus presentations, and at the end, we'll have a national winner for us. So that is majorly about Global Challenge. I'll also briefly talk about the rewards that you can expect. What is in it for you guys? Why should you participate? The national winners of Global Challenge get an amount of 10 lakh INR from Reckitt. In addition to that, the team also gets to go for a global immersion at a Reckitt site. So it's going to be fully paid and sponsored by the company. So your travel, your stay, everything would be sorted. For your reference, last year we had it in Singapore. The year before that, it was in the United Kingdom. So that is something that you can definitely look out for. In addition to that, all the campus winners from the 17 campuses are going to get an amount of 1 lakh INR from Reckitt. Secondly, you all get a chance to work with Reckitt. So all the national finalist teams, 6 to be precise, would be getting PPIs from our side. In addition to that, you'll also be receiving wildcard PPIs throughout the process. So let's say for some reason you're not a part of the national finalist teams, still you have a chance to grab a wildcard PPI if you like your presentation, if you like the effort that you've put in, your CV, all those factors come into play. So wildcard PPI is another thing to watch out for. And lastly, it's about an interaction with Reckitt brand managers. So all the national finalist teams get a chance to have a one-to-one interaction with Reckitt brand managers, where you can get the actual hands-on information about various things like what exactly is an FMCG industry, how does Reckitt work, what does a day in the life of a marketer looks like, a salesperson looks like, all those practical information you can get access to. So that those are essentially the rewards that you can expect out of the competition. So that was briefly about the global challenge. Moving on, I'll introduce the panelists for today. We have an esteemed jury. So, firstly, Mr. Saurabh Jain. Saurabh is the regional marketing director and spoke for hygiene for the South Asia region. Thank you, Saurabh. Thank you for taking out the time. Okay, I guess Saurabh isn't there on the call right now. No worries. We'll talk to him once he's back. The second panelist is Soumya Srivastav. Soumya was a part of Soumya was the part of the team who were the national winners of the competition back in 2021. Soumya joined Reckitt, and right now she's working as an area sales manager for the North Gujarat region. Welcome, Soumya. Thank you so much for joining in.
Hi, Sarthak. Thank you for having me. It's my pleasure launching the Global Challenge. I have some really fond memories with the competition. I made some great friends, got the opportunity to come into a great organization. So, yeah, I'm all but grateful. Yeah.
Thank you, Soumya. Thanks a lot. Moving on, the third panelist for today is Ankita Bhattacharya. Ankita has recently joined Reckitt as a management trainee. She participated in Reckitt Global Challenge 2022, post which she joined the company as a management trainee. And we joined the company together in the same batch. Welcome, Ankita. Thank you for joining in.
Thank you so much for having me.
Great. So those are the panelists for today. I guess Saurabh is still not there with us right now. So okay. Okay. No issues. So let's move on to the interaction that we have planned. Okay, I guess Saurabh is here. Great. So, hi Saurabh. I was introducing you, but I guess you got dropped off. Welcome, Saurabh. Saurabh Jain is the regional marketing director and spoke for the hygiene BU in Reckitt. Thank you, Saurabh. Thank you for taking out the time.
I am.
Saurabh, are we on?
Yeah, now I'm able to hear you. Sorry, I had a bit of technical issue. My light just went off in Gurgaon. So it's back on at least.
Okay. No issues, Saurabh. Just really happy to have you here. Thank you for taking out the time. Thank you for this launch.
Thank you, Sarthak.
Great. Okay, so those are the panelists for today. Let's move on to the interaction that we've planned with you all. So I'll be asking some questions to the panelists revolving around the company, around the competition, their personal experience. Ankita and Soumya can definitely share their personal experiences as well. And I am pretty sure that that would give you an idea about the organization as well as the competition. So yeah, let's start. So my first question is to you, Saurabh. So for those of our audience who don't know what Reckitt exactly is, could you just describe what the company stands for?
Sure, absolutely. I think let me first start with a bit of a disclaimer here, right? So I've worked with Reckitt now for over 10 years. So I've got more than 17 years of working with three organizations to be precise. But the last bit, I mean, I've been working now with Reckitt for 10 years. I think the best way in which I describe Reckitt, it is a company which is working towards building a cleaner and a healthier world. And these are not just words, but let me exemplify this for you guys, right? I mean, look at a collection of brands, right? I mean, Dettol and Lysol to speak of specifically. Many may argue it is brands which are into killing germs, but if you look at the largeness of the purpose of these brands, they are about actually keeping your loved one illness free. Harpic, which many would assume it's a toilet cleaner, a toilet cleaner brand which helps in keeping the toilets clean. But if you look at the work that kind of Harpic's done in the field since 2014, you'd say we really stand for driving access to cleaner and better toilets and sanitation facilities. Vanish particularly, right? I mean, it's a brand which many would say it's for about removing stains. But think of it. I mean, if you redefine the brand, actually speak about it as adding life to your clothes, then look at what business are we into? It's about keeping your clothes, keeping extending the life of your clothes so that you can wear them from longer. And imagine the burden that you don't have on the landfill, etc., on account of that. So in truly, put across, I mean, look at every brand of Reckitt stands and has a meaning, which is not just the functional benefit, but the larger purpose it is there, and the problem that it solves for the community at large. So Reckitt for me is all about building a cleaner and healthier world.
Great. Thank you, Saurabh. And I totally agree with you in the brief time that I have spent at Reckitt. Great. So, Saurabh, my next question would be if you had to describe the culture of Reckitt in one word, what would that be and why?
See, in one word, if I have to describe it, I would say it is a very ownership-led culture. And at many levels, we actually foster entrepreneurship in our people. We are an organization, I would say, which beats bureaucracy. There is no small or big leaders. We nurture everyone. I think we expect everyone to have opinions. We expect anyone to be able to table their opinions. There is openness in the organization, in the culture, to hear everyone out. I mean, it is all about employees earning their right to be heard. And after that, it doesn't matter where the ideas and point of views are coming from. It is absolutely driven by people. In many often, I would say that in Reckitt you don't get told, but actually asked, right? And that's largely the culture within Reckitt. So I mean, agility and commitments are the other aspects which drive this ownership culture. So if I have to describe it in one word, it is an absolute ownership-led organization.
Great, great. Thank you. Soumya, my next question would be to you. As you were a part of the team who were the national winners of the competition in 2021, so for starters, if you had to encapsulate your RGC journey in one word, what would that be and why?
I think it's very difficult to put it in one word, but maybe I think I had the most time understanding, how Reckitt works along with what their drive is. So probably my experience has been very nurturing. If you are asking, me in one word, but I think the best part about the competition, and as Saurabh said, it's not just it's not just in our daily work that we are asked to be very accountable for what we do. It was there in the competition as well. So the kind of culture that we have here trickled down to the competition and asked each of the participants to be extremely ownership led on what they were presenting, how the product worked, and how it was supposed to be feasible for the market. So it was very nurturing in the sense that I not just got to learn about the marketing side of Reckitt, but also one of the most important aspects that initially when B school students think about FMCG companies, it's all about marketing. It also gave me a very deep lens into the sales of a product, into the feasibility and the finance of the product. So personally, it was very enriching and nurturing for me and my team.
Okay, great. Soumya, you joined like after completing your MBA, you joined Reckitt as a management trainee in the year 2021. So it's almost been 2 years. So how has
Yeah.
your journey been like as like you joined as an MT and now you're working as the ASM. So how has the journey been like?
I think the journey has been an extremely steep learning curve. I don't think that any book that I studied during my MBA would have prepared or taught me what I've learned in these 2 years. So, the first bit of experience comes from obviously getting to work with brands and doing some sort of e-commerce. But I think the biggest learning experience for me has been sales. Right from starting out as a salesman, basically shadowing a salesman and understanding how the market works, to now leading a team of about 90 to 100 salesmen and a direct team of 15 people. I think never had I ever imagined during my 2 years in B school that I would be leading and doing such a people job. And with people comes a lot of responsibility. So I think Reckitt really trusts you and gives you that confidence that no, it doesn't matter what past experience you have, they trust you and believe in you, yeah, that yeah, you can be responsible for about 100 people's lives and how they are going to work. And that sort of ownership has really taught me a lot about how people work, how to understand the psychology of people, and how to in fact get sales driven through it. So it's really been very, very learning rich experience for me.
Great. And Soumya, you participated in the competition, and then you actually went ahead to become the national winners. But still, in hindsight, if you were to do something differently in your RGC prep or your presentations or your any particular round of the competition, what would that be?
Okay, I think one part which was something that was mentioned to us in the campus round, and something that we should have picked up on, was the sustainability angle of designing a product. I think when you're presenting in your campus round or till the national round, a lot of emphasis is given on what your product is, the feasibility of the product, the scalability of the product, and basically how are you going to recover the company's costs when you are going to actually go live with the product. But from a very global perspective, if you look at it, we may sometimes ignore the sustainability angle around it, and might not really go that deep into how it would translate maybe 10 years down the line, your product, how it would affect the environment and all of that. So I believe that is something that I would urge all the participants to pick up on. There will be a lot of pointers and a lot of help available from a lot of people within Reckitt and outside Reckitt on how to go about the challenge. But maybe sustainability is one angle which a lot of students miss out on. And I know for a fact that all the top six that were there in the national round, we never really talked about the sustainability angle of it. So I think it becomes a very, very important and a genuinely interesting thing that we as students should really think about the long term impact of products, and maybe that is something that the current batch can really learn from.
Great. I'm pretty sure the people watching and the students currently in their second year would be able to derive a lot of learning from that. Great. Ankita, my next question is to you. So you participated in the global challenge in the year 2022, so it's fairly recent. So what would be one of your favorite memories from the competition?
So in 2022, we had picked up the case competition for Durex. Um, so while we were doing research for the case competition itself, I just remember the three of us were hunched over like a laptop screen, and we spent an hour or more on the Instagram of Durex, on the YouTube of Durex, and not just Durex. We were doing competitors as well, so Man4 Score. So you also know that the messaging for these companies is very witty, and that 1 hour of entertainment that we had, the amount of laughter, that would probably be my favorite memory while doing research or while participating in the global challenge.
Great. So, Ankita, when we are in Premium B schools during those 2 years, we participate in a lot of case competitions. I have done that. I'm sure you also have done that. So, what would you say differentiates the global challenge from the other case competitions?
Okay, so one of the things that right off the bat I can think of is that, so in Reckitt we had the choice of three case competitions. We had three cases to choose from. All of them were marketing oriented. So one was on Dettol, one was on Durex, and the other was on Mortine. All three were brands that every single, I mean, all of us at least know by heart. Like, we have been living and growing with these brands. And also the agenda of these three case competitions was slightly different. So one was on differentiation, one was on ideation and coming up with the financial feasibility, one was on reaching T3 markets. So you had like an array to choose from, and you could work on what you want. The other thing that I think has already been mentioned is that Reckitt gives a lot of wildcard PPIs, which the other case competitions it does not offer as much as Reckitt does. The third, and this is something that I picked up from one of my friends while talking about them for this competition. So for Reckitt, for Dettol, case comps, and a few others maybe, since these products were so widespread in the market, I think Dettol was one of those case comps. It was very easy for us to do market research, and not just the normal, like we could go to pharmacies and groceries and actually ask them ki what is the problem. The case comp, the description that was given to us, we could see that working in the market. So these are, I think, some things because of the nature of the products that Reckitt has, and also the sort of design that the case competition is. I think this is something that sets Reckitt apart.
Great. And since we have a lot of people who are in their second years in B schools who are going to participate in the global challenge, what would be your 2 cents? I mean, what would be, let's say, 2 or 3 tips that you would like to, give to those students for cracking the cases in global challenge?
Okay. So the first tip I think has already been covered, but I'll just elaborate a lot more. All submissions, marketing submissions, it's very easy to get carried away on the main idea or the agenda that you're presenting, your solution, so to speak. But in a 5 slider, if you give 2 or 3 slides to just your idea, then you're giving very less to how your the how, why, and how, when of it. So what I'm trying to get to is the presentation should be as holistic as possible. It's very easy for us to ignore assumptions or make very weak ones or far-fetched ones. We ignore the data presented in the case without giving valid reasons. The technical and feasibility part, and now that Soumya has mentioned the sustainability part of it, quite often gets ignored or is very misrepresented. So that would be my first tip, to make the presentation holistic. I remember the case com that I think went through had only 1.5 slides. We had a 5 slider presentation. 1.5 slides was the actual ideation, the solution that they were giving, and the rest 3.5 slides were only on the how did they get to this idea, why this idea, how this idea is supposed to be implemented, and the financials, and so on and so forth. The second tip that I would give, and this is something that I have struggled with a lot in my second year, is that during there is the first aspect of it is making the presentation, but a very very important aspect of it is also presenting it. So in any B school, since there are 70, 80, 90 submissions also coming from one single B school, often there are 3 or 4 submissions that are very very good and have the potential to make it forward. So at the end of the day, the differentiating factor becomes the presentation. What are the points that you're elaborating on? Have you rehearsed? Are you getting stuck? Are you leaving a few points to, because of time? So I would really suggest that you give a good amount of effort to dry run your presentations, so that on the main day you are not just conscious of the time, but also the content that you're presenting, so that you can just avoid any mishaps at the last minute. And the third one, so these 2 points sort of apply to most case comps, I think, but then the third one is more for Reckitt's focus. um Reckitt has products that are very accessible to the market. There's Dettol, there's Lysol, there's Harpic. You go out and you will see these products. So for your research, I would suggest that you move away from just the online sources, because a lot of the information you will find in the market, and in fact in your same city, two different areas might have two different ideologies or perceptions about the product. So the amount that you can research on ground, especially for Reckitt products, is vast, and I would really suggest that everyone does it. Even they don't even have to go out of their way, since everyone goes to a grocery store or a supermarket or interacts with customers who uses them. And this actually came in very handy for me, because during the question answer round during my presentation, a lot of the questions were based on market. So they were like, so the interviewer asked me, market may this is the scene, and your case competition doesn't, like, your solution doesn't touch this. What did you know about this? If now that you know, how are you going to change it? So even if you're able to touch upon a few genuine market problems in your PPT, that can actually help you set yourself apart. So these are the 3 tips that I think would be helpful for everyone.
Great, great. Thanks, Ankita. Saurabh, my next question would be for you. So, as these students would be participating in the competition, we'll take them through various rounds, business simulation, aptitude tests. Then they would be required to, submit a case solution, then present them in their campuses, then in the national semifinals, and then finally in the national finale. So, while doing all these, while going through all these rounds, what are your expectations from the students who are participating in the competition?
Yeah, thanks, Arthak again. I think, see, one way to put this is like, you heard Soumya and Ankita speak about it. I think when you look at the projects, I think these are all real time issues faced by our brands in some form or the other. So these are not cooked up case studies. These are not some things which are conceptual. These are absolute real life problems. Yeah, and the reason I'm harping on this is imagine if we've given you a real life problem, there's a massive willingness at the back end to listen to the solution. There's massive investment that goes in terms of time and effort on account of every stakeholder to come together and really listen to what you have to say. So I'm setting a bit of context from where the expectations kind of coming in from. These are real life problems, and there will be an investment of everyone's time, including mine, to be able to kind of go through, whatever you guys have to propose. Also, I kind of realized, given your journey in, where you are in your education at this point, this is also a form of a crossroad, right? Where your academic theories have to be converted into business solutions, which then impact outcomes. So remember at the back of it, I mean, the reason why we're going to campuses with this is because you guys are just fresh off, you've heard, you've learned, you have real life experiences as well. So apply all of those things when you kind of think of solutions. The great thing about our portfolio is the fact that you will find users in households that are yours or your neighbors or your friends, etc. So it's not very difficult to imagine, the products and the brands that we kind of sell. Uh, in terms of expectations, let me put it this way: we're really interested in listening to solutions which are bold, which break stereotypes, solutions which are, you heard them speak about, are very well thought of, are thorough and complete. In many ways, I'm also interested in listening to the point of views that you would have, because that I and my team will never have, because we need an outside in perspective on the problem rather than an inside out perspective, right? So in a way, that's what my expectation would be. uh, to put it up this way, while you have the younger audience members, even from Reckitt present here, I would say I was in your shoes maybe 17 to 18 years back. I've attempted multiple case studies. I have a lot of empathy for this. So, I mean, the stakes are now bigger. I in many ways envy the kind of, awards and rewards that you guys get today. But get together. I think this is competitive. Get cracking on the case study, but also have fun while you do that, because this is the first time, in many ways, that you will be translating all your academic theories into business outcomes. So best of luck to you for that.
Great. Thank you, Saurabh. Thank you for sharing those 2 cents. Right. So we are done with the interaction and the questions that we had planned with the panelists. Now I would open the house for questions. If you guys have any questions relating to the competition, or to the timeline, or to the rewards, or to the personal experiences of Soumya and Ankita, or what about other expectations that the judges might have, that you might want to ask questions to Saurabh, you can definitely do that. We are monitoring the live chat, and we'll be happy to answer them. So I do have a few questions right now. Soumya's question is, please help us with the case. What kind of case study can we expect this year? So Soumya, as I mentioned, there are going to be various rounds. So first we begin with the business simulation round, which is essentially going to be an aptitude test, and post that we'll have the case challenge round, which will go live on the 20th of September. So that will be the day when you'll get access to all the 4-5 cases that we'll have for this year. For obvious reasons, I cannot disclose the cases right now, but yes, we have live business cases spanning through the various brands in Reckitt across the 3 business units that we have, which are hygiene, health, and nutrition. So you'll be presented with those live cases, which are essentially, let's say, the problems or the situations that the brands are currently facing, and then you'll be required to present your innovative and novel solutions to those particular problems, which I, as mentioned, would have to be technically feasible and financially viable as well. So yeah, I hope that answers your questions. You'll get an access to all the cases once you clear the business simulation round on the 20th of September. Great. I have Gaurang's question. Hi, like you talked about, participants should focus on sustainability, but do the judges give weightage to it? So Soumya, would you like to take that question?
Yeah. Hi. So basically, before each competition, there is obviously a list of things that the judges are going to evaluate your presentation into. So for in our case, we exactly had an idea that your idea is going to be the king, because it is an innovation competition. So whatever idea you think about would be something that would hold the maximum weightage. But along with that, Reckitt gives a lot of importance to the pricing, the sustainable the pricing, the feasibility and the scalability of the product, and what kind of financials would work out. So all of this is something that we had prepared. Now, why sustainability was something that we realized maybe in hindsight was that till nationals we were good, we won the competition, but when we went to the globals, we realized that a lot of other countries had focused or put a lot of effort into understanding and defining the sustainability of their product, and maybe that was something that gave them an edge to what we had prepared. So definitely, maybe the kind of pointers that you will get from the judges or from Reckitt side is something that all the participants would work into. But you also need to have an extra edge in your presentation to ensure that the judges really take note of you and remember you, that yeah, this is something different and something way more deeper that was being presented. So I guess you may not find it in the official list of that checklist ki, yeah, this is being given weightage, but I'm sure that thinking about the sustainability angle and maybe a few other angles would always help your case.
Can I add a bit to it, Sarthak, if you're fine?
Definitely, Saurabh. Yeah.
Okay, another way to kind of put this is like, when you look at sustainability, this was not very different from doing business, right? I mean, the moment you start thinking sustainability as something additive, sustainability is not sustainability; it becomes charity. So that's where the distinguishing. That's where you need to distinguish. I mean, sustainability as a strategy needs to be inbuilt wherever allowed, wherever it seamlessly flows into your strategy. Otherwise, otherwise you would be greenwashing. You would be doing things just for the sake of it. I would suggest that find ways in which you can stitch them together in your ideas in a more meaningful way. If it's not coming out more meaningfully, you'll do yourself better justice to actually leave them out than stitch them in that particular way, right? So keep that in mind. I mean, you have the examples that I spoke about, Harpic, which is around the cause of sanitation. This is not charity. I mean, in the end, if number of toilets are being built in India as a toilet cleaner brand, it is going to go back and benefit the brand. When we talk about removing the stains from vanish and keeping the life of the clothes longer, this is all. And when you talk about sustainability in terms of removal of the of the wastage that clothes have, and thereby the impact on landfill, it is absolutely entrenched with the use of vanish, which arouse and eradicates it. So think of sustainability in those lights, and then you will not have these questions. Wherever you're having these questions, that means you've not got the act of sustainability right into your design, right? So that's just going to be my add-on advice.
Oh, really well said, Saurabh. Thank you. Thank you so much, Saurabh, for the answer. Gaurang, I hope that answers your question. Next question we have by Ansh. Hi, sir. Do you suggest attempting the simulation round with all the teammates around and tackle it together? Yes, Ansh. Ideally, that should be the scenario. Although, since we do understand the level of time commitments that exist in your B school, we haven't made it a mandatory condition. So, as per the rules, one of the team members, either the team leader or the other two members, you can log into the portal and take on the business simulation round. But yes, ideally, we would suggest if all the three members are together and tackling it together, because then it actually makes it easier for you guys. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. Next question is from Sanjam, which actually is the question that I and a lot of my management trainees who joined with me asked Saurabh. Saurabh, what motivated you to stay with Reckitt for 10 years?
Okay. See, first of all, I'm a fairly loyal person, right? I mean, I've stayed 8.5 years in my first organization and fairly now 10 years with this second one. I've had a very short stint with another organization in between, wherein I kind of joined Reckitt. Uh, I mean, in many ways to put it, and I think it's very personal. I think I spoke about very passionately about the company and the brand. I think a lot of answer kind of resides in the kind of work that we do on an everyday level. This is not just business. This is doing good work for the community. By the end of it, you feel good for the work that you kind of do. I've been here and working, let's say, on Harpic from 2014 when I joined this company as a brand manager, right? 2013 is when I joined it as a brand manager on Harpic. And over the years and the amount of toilets that have got built in this country and the work that's kind of happened even to eradicate open defecation, and the role that Harpics had to play there has been a very impactful journey for me. So I mean, that is many ways in which I kind of define it. The other very practical advice, if I have to give you, is the words of one of my professor when when he told me one way to kind of evaluate life choices is through the value equation, right? And I'm going to say this and see if it kind of makes sense for you. Uh, it is about you adding value to yourself and being valued. So as long as you continue to add value to yourself, I think it's a great place to be in. And I've had a tremendously successful career with Reckitt, starting as a as a brand manager 10 years back to now heading the marketing function in South Asia. So I think that's been tremendous. I've kind of added value to myself all through, and also being being valued. And I think this is what you kind of see and feel at a regular level, and that's how I kind of feel it. So as long as both the things work for you, I think your longevity with the organization is going to be longer. Yeah, and even for relationships, it's the same equation. There is no other equation.
Great. Thanks, Saurabh. So next we have Dia's question. Can you provide insights into the judging criteria and process for selecting the winning ideas or projects? So Dia, the exact judging parameters for every year are available with the cases as and when they're launched. But just to give you an idea, what we'll be looking at, or what the panelists would be looking at, are how innovative your solution is, what is the technical feasibility of the solution, what is the economic viability, then how effective your presentation is once your solution gets selected, and then you have to present it as well. So how effective your presentation is. So those are some of the parameters that come into the picture while we're evaluating your presentations. Apart from that, parameters like Soumya mentioned, sustainability, how sustainable your solution is what kind of impact it's going to have on the earth in general, and even Saurabh's answer about what are the expectations from the participating students. I think that is something that you can take into account. I hope that answers your question. Next, we have Amit's question. How does Reckitt design its marketing campaigns? Saurabh, would you like to take that?
See, see, very simply put, I think it all has to start with the consumer. I think you put the consumer need and wants first, finds, and then thereby you design your marketing campaign around it, right? I mean, at the end of it, I mean, your brands are servicing a specific needs of a consumer. Uh, if I talk about one of the latest campaigns that you would have seen is around, let's say, the launch of the Harpic bathroom cleaner. I think it started with a very simple insight that 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 while you have a very specialist solution for your toilet and bathroom, people are still forced to kind of use the detergents, phenyls, etc. of the world. Why not launch a product which actually carries the efficacy of Harpic in toilet into bathroom? Then and your entire marketing campaign then is kind of driven with this. Toilet and bathroom as words could be interchangeable. So what is your brief to the agency to kind of spell that around and make it very specific for the consumers? So in a nutshell, if I have to answer this question, it absolutely starts with being laser sharp around the consumer problem you're solving, and then your marketing campaign kind of comes around to kind of solve for it.
Great. Thanks, Saurabh. Amit, I hope that answers your question. Next, we have Kevin's question. What opportunities are there for collaboration or partnerships with Reckitt, both during and after the challenge, for teams with promising solutions? So, Kevin, for starters, we have PPIs that will be rolled out to the national finalist teams, along with the wildcard PPIs that would be rolled out throughout the process. Apart from that, there are also other opportunities, and maybe Soumya and then Ankita can answer that question, also based on your personal experience.
Hi, Kevin. So basically, I'll just give you a brief. So once you are basically through to the campus round and you end up winning the campus round, you actually do get a lot of insight from Reckitt's own people. So between the campus round and the national round, we had a particular brand's brand manager as our personal mentor for our team, and we collaborated with him almost every single day to basically fine tune our idea, fine tune our presentation. So I think before the campus round, we were obviously a bunch of lost students who probably didn't know how to really put across that idea in a really good format. But Reckitt's brand manager really helped us. And post that, from national to the global round as well, we had two or three people collaborating on our entire presentation, because we were essentially representing Reckitt India. So I think one very brief answer to your question would be that come with a really good idea and win the campus round. And I think post that you'll get a lot of entryway into Reckitt's brand managers and how they think. And I think to basically win that campus round, you really need to think of a solution that is not rooting from a problem. So I think Saurabh really, he is so perfect with that line that you really focus very sharp on the consumer problem, because if you have a solution in mind and you basically root it to the problem and try to define the problem around your solution, you might really lose the plot. But if you come with a very strong sharp consumer insight and then design a solution around it, the tables can really turn for you. So yeah, Ankita, you can continue with your experience.
So I'll just, mostly I think you've covered most of it. Just one, like a little add-on, is that if you manage to get like a really good idea, I'm sure Reckitt also offers live projects for you to actually implement that idea or design a pilot and see if the idea is feasible in the market. So that would be something that would come after the challenge, whether or regardless of your PPO or PPI status from the competition. So live projects is one, and the second thing is, if you see, if you really have a promising idea, promising solution, and your team has done well, you the chances are that have been offered a PPI. So if you convert, I am speaking from experience, it's only been 2 months or not even 2 months since I'm on the field, and I already have to come up with a business development project and I have to implement it on my own for the next 3 months. So once you're in the system as well, there are a lot of opportunities for you to sort of bring these ideas or execute these ideas and see if there is any meat to it. So I think in these this is sort of, you will get your platform. Just get through the first round, and then I'm pretty sure that Sarthak will make the rest happen for you.
Thank you, Soumya and Ankita. Kevin, I hope that answers your question. We have another question. Are there any particular areas within the hygiene, health, and nutrition sectors that Reckitt is particularly interested in focusing on this year? So, generally, all the cases that we have every year for Global Challenge span across the three BUs, which are hygiene, health, and nutrition, and you are required to select one of them. That is what happens every year in general. For this year, maybe Saurabh can talk about any particularly interested areas that Reckitt has.
Yeah. I mean, particularly, I would answer it from more from an interest perspective. I think there are three BUs that we run. Each of them are meaningful. Again, there are opportunities that span across each one of them. When you talk even of infant nutrition, I think imagine the number of children that are born in India at an everyday level. There is an opportunity and size in that. With every child getting born, and there is a worried mother, look at the opportunity that kind of presents from a Dettol Lysol perspective as well. Look at what's kind of happening in the field of rural India as well, as in when more urbanization happens, the opportunity on Harpic, etc., on the hygiene business comes across. So, in a nutshell, I think we treat all the three views quite equally. There are opportunity sets within it. It's a developing market for the right reasons, and from a focus and interest perspective, it's there. I think from a case study perspective, I'm not particularly sure as to which are the ones that we would finally shortlist. I think in the end, we're going to get down to three. Currently, we have, let's say, contenders across all BUs. We will, as a leadership team, review all of them, and I think we'll get back to you with three of them that we believe are most meaningful. You, as students, are best poised to kind of come out with brilliant solutions to that, and I think we'll throw it open to you. So you may just have to wait a little bit to kind of get that, but as a wider context, I think all three views are important.
Great. Thank you, Saurabh. Thank you. I hope that answers the person's question. Yeah, so as I'm able to see, we are done with the questions that we have from the audience. In case there are any more questions, you can definitely reach out to any of us. We'll be happy to answer them. You can also source your questions through your placement committee, and we can definitely get back to you. With that, I would like to thank all the three panelists, Saurabh, Soumya, and Ankita. Thank you so much for taking out the time, helping us launch the case competition and solving all the doubts and the questions that the students have. Thank you so much. About the registrations, so as we speak, the registrations are up and running. All the students must have received a link from your placement committee regarding it. I hope all of you have already registered. If you haven't, I would request all of you to please go to the Unstop portal through that link and register yourselves in teams of 3. I've talked about the timeline. So you're gonna attempt the business simulation round first. After that, you'll have the case challenge round, and then the presentations on the campus semi-finale and the finale continue after that. The registration link is also pinned in the first comment on the chat. So if you just scroll up, you'll find the registration link over there as well, and in the mails that you might have received from your placement committee. So with that, thank you so much. Thank you so much, guys, for joining, for taking out the time, to the participants and the panelists. And thank you, Unstop, for organizing this and making this happen. Looking forward to see most of you in the various stages of the competition. All the best, everyone. All the best, guys.
Thank you. Best of luck.